We all knew that when Hollow Knight Silksong finally released, it was going to be a massive experience, judging by the level of hype and also the fact that the first title sold over 15 million copies in just a few short years. But now that it's finally released, we are seeing the numbers and they are putting the AAA industry to shame. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, when it comes to a lot of big AAA releases nowadays, we always hear players engaged or people that have downloaded the game. We don't really get a lot of hard sales numbers because when you put your title onto a subscription service like a Game Pass or a Ubisoft Plus, right, you can inflate those numbers artificially. And you could say, well, technically we have 10 million gamers playing it, even though there's only 2 million copies sold. And we know that it's a very good way for these studios to basically lie to investors and paint a picture that is not exactly accurate. And we have been pointing and laughing at the developers that do this because it just goes to show they don't want people to see their numbers. They don't want to have to answer for why something the size of Star Wars Outlaws underperforms and why it really only gets, 2 million sales when they expected it to have like 8 to 10 million sales, same with something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, but we finally have the numbers for Hollow Knight Silksong, and even though this game has only been out a couple of days, boy, oh boy, is it doing phenomenally. Now, this is a game that did go on to Game Pass day one, and of course, it's a game that I highly recommend you support the developers directly on. A lot of the times, I'll say, play it on Game Pass, see if you like it, and then you can buy an individual copy, but even pirates are going as far as to say, buy the game if you can, because these developers deserve all of the support and all of the praise that they're getting. And we finally do have some sales figures and they are really freaking spectacular. So let's start off with this article by Gadget 360. It says Hollow Knight Silksong has had a phenomenally successful launch, especially on Steam, where the Metroidvania title has reached a peak concurrent player count of over 580,000. In fact, the latest market research data from Alina Analytics shows that the action platformer has reached over 5 million players across all supported platforms, a million of those from Game Pass on Xbox consoles. On Steam alone, Silksong has reportedly sold over 3 million copies in just 3 days, and that is only on Steam. That means this game most likely sold upwards of 5 to 6 million copies. Never mind the people who also had downloaded it. I love the fact that we get both of the numbers side by side, and both of those numbers are freaking great. 5 million across all supported platforms in only a couple of days is spectacular for these developers. So it says the Hollow Knight sequel has become the biggest independent game launch the market research firm has tracked in that period. According to the analytics data published Tuesday, Hollow Knight Silksong has generated over $50 million in revenue on just Steam alone. Silksong was the most wishlisted game on Steam, and it seems that players' interest has translated to game sales. I think that this is for a plethora of reasons. Of course, the cost of entry is extremely good. Only having to pay $20 for an experience you can get 50 plus hours on is crazy. That is such a low price, and I think that they knew that this game was going to sell very well because of the amount of hype behind it, so they figured, you know what, let's not charge $70 for it, and let's actually charge the least amount possible so that we can get that free press. And I do think that it really worked out for them because $20 in the grand scheme of the video game industry is not a lot. I mean, controllers are $90 freaking dollars a piece. Some video games are $80 a piece. So $20 isn't that high of a price of investment, but you're also getting an extremely long and high quality price for the experience. We are seeing AAA games games released like Borderlands 4 and Star Wars Outlaws and Lost Soulside and even Snake Eater and Gears of War Reloaded launching, and they're buggy and broken, and they're just not the highest level of quality these studios should be able to put out, and then Silksong puts them to shame. You love to see it, so it's not broken as well. And of course, there is also the element of it is just a fun gaming experience. You got these weird little bug guys running around. You do have lore. I'm not trying to downplay it. You definitely have a story there. You have all of these really cool and unique moves and weapons and level designs. It doesn't have a political narrative behind it. It's just a really good gaming experience all around. I know that there are some people out there who are a little bit upset that it definitely kicks your butt, but I think that that was the natural progression of things because the first game definitely packed a punch towards the end. They assume that you have matured in the 6 years that it took them to develop. So, of course, they'd want to provide you with a slightly more intense experience. But we're talking about 50 million revenue just from Steam, millions of copies sold just from Steam. Never mind when we have the entire picture presented to us. It's going to be absolutely insane. And keep in mind, the first Hollow Knight, of course, brought in a lot of people, right? It sold a lot of copies. From the last time we were updated, we had found out that it sold more than 15 million copies since its initial release in 2017. It achieved significant milestones, selling over 1 million copies on PC by June 2018. One day before its Switch release, it sold over 250,000 copies on the Switch within its first 2 weeks of launch. By July 2018, sales had surpassed 1.2 million copies. As of August 2025, the game had sold over 15 million copies. So we knew that Silksong, right, was going to be a pretty freaking big launch, just judging by the wishlist numbers and also the talk about it over the past couple of years. And it definitely did not disappoint Team Cherry, that's for sure. We know that Silksong is, of course, the top-selling game on most major platforms, ranking highly on Steam, the top-selling game on the Switch and Switch 2 digital stores, and the PlayStation Store is a leading indie Metroidvania. It boasts strong player retention and record-breaking launch numbers, positioning it as one of the best-selling indie games of the year, and probably one of the best-selling indie games of all time. And I know that there are definitely a lot over the past couple of years that have blown up in popularity, but I don't see Silksong only dominating the sales charts for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, right? I think it's going to consistently hold a spot over the next couple of months, a high ranked spot. And I think that there is just so much hype behind it, and you love to freaking see it. It's just a genuinely amazing experience. And I've been live streaming it tonight. I'll be live streaming more of it at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I think that it is definitely a game that lived up to people's expectations. And just taking a look on social media at the response, there's lots of people saying things like, make good game, don't put politics in it, people buy it, who would have thunk it? We've seen a lot of indie developers freaking out and AAA developers freaking out. Both of my videos on those topics will be linked below. But the indies are saying it's unfair, it was $20. How are they supposed to price their games now if this experience is 20 and it's such a long title? And they're mad that Team Cherry is still called an indie team. And sure, the first game made a lot of money, but it's still only a core dev team of 3 people. So what's your scale for calling someone indie? You just feel like they shouldn't be called indie anymore? Makes no sense. And then the AAAs are clearly upset because it just goes to show that you can make a really high quality experience with a minimal team of people, the way that the video game industry used to be ran, with when all of the studios were started by just a group of guys in their basement hanging out, just trying to create something fun and unique. And that's not the way that the industry is anymore. So Team Cherry is basically embarrassing everybody right now. You've also got tons of people saying somewhere a media literacy soy golem is crying, but Silksong's a girl and with a female protagonist. Yeah, guys, you hate playing games as females, even though the Tomb Raiders have always done good, the Niers have always done good, Stellar Blade did good, Wu Chang did good, but You hate women, don't forget it. Good price point. Now, if they do that with films and television, will be golden. Clicking on this thread about it as well, very similar. Make good game, no politics, people buy it, question mark, profit. 10 million in the first week? Probably. Wait, people buy well-developed games? No way. I need to try these games. People seem to be going crazy for them. Metroidvanias, high-quality experiences, indie titles, all of those things combined really do help it out. So I'll be keeping my eye on Silksong over the next few days, of course, and I'll still be streaming my playthrough, but it's doing phenomenally, and you love to see it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.